Question for you. Do you tend to look in the mirror when things go right? Do you tend to look in the mirror when things go wrong? So there's this great analogy that I heard about leadership is good leaders look in the mirror when things go wrong and look out the window when things go right to see who else helped them. And when things go wrong, already said that. So when things go wrong, they look in the mirror and out the window when things go right. And it's oftentimes the opposite for people who don't want to take accountability. When things go right, they want to look in the mirror but look out the window to see what went wrong and who did wrong. And we're all about taking accountability. That is today's focus, day 41. It's Janae here to brighten, enlighten, and ignite your day. Through the power of completion, one of the things that people suffer with the most, and I gotta admit, I am not very good at this at all, is accountability, follow through, and measurement, especially if you are an entrepreneur and you don't have anybody you have to check in with, or maybe a stay-at-home mom, or whatever kind of freedom you might have in your job or your role. It happens. But you know what? It's not just those of us who are independent. Research shows that many people are truly not accountable for their work. Managers don't hold them accountable because you know what? They're not held accountable. And more research shows that they believe, because of this lack of accountability, that about 1/3 of people's potential is not being utilized because of this. So there's a whole epidemic going on around accountability inside organizations, outside organizations, and in the home. And that's the one great thing I think about school, is that it holds you accountable, right? You have certain dates and times you have to get grades in, and that's what I've been talking about my boys, is either you get a scorecard. A grade is a great scorecard. You get points, you get at the end, it summarizes how did you do overall. And I was just sharing with my oldest, he was on the edge with 3 classes, a B+, and he 1 point away for A-, a 0.5 away from another A-, and 0.3 away from another A-. I said 3 total points could have bumped you up to all A's. So there's just a lot to think about and consider when you are doing accountability. And what does it look like? Do you have the victor approach, where you just take total accountability for no matter what is showing up in your life, even if it's not your stuff showing up, but it's your stuff around you and you're attracting it? So you take full victor accountability, or you have victim accountability, where you know what, you're always blaming, thinking about somebody else did something or there's some excuse. And yes, you at this point, you're so close to the end of the tunnel. You're gonna get so many obstacles that are gonna get in your way, especially procrastination, right? You're so close there, you almost just feel like, why do it? I just want to take a break. I've been working so hard. We just got a couple more days to push through, okay? So, and being accountable helps. Now, your accountability might look differently, but when I was doing some research for a class that I developed around accountability, ironically, I designed the entire class and was super excited to share it, and then I had my first child early, so I wasn't able to complete the development of the guide, but I was able to go back in later and help teach the course, so that was good. But one of the things in my research, I came up with 5 I's around accountability that I thought might be helpful for you. The first I is to invest personally. So those who are truly accountable, look at it as an investment, and it's personal. I am really excited and interested in this, and that's why we spent a lot of time up front talking about your number 1 goal. It needs to be something that you are so invested in, because it's your mission if you choose to accept it. you have to invest personally, and not just that it's something to do, but it's an investment in you and your future. Okay, so that's the first I. The second I is to initiate action. These last couple of modules in the Finish Strong module, the first 4 with a quick start, these last 2 weeks are the Finish Strong. It's all about action, and it's about you initiating action. That's one of the biggest things that will happen is if you sit and wait for things to come to you, they might eventually, but others are out there making it happen, or you're the one watching them. So if you want something to happen, you have to initiate that action, and that's why this is all about it. I've been initiating ideas for you, but you're the one who has to do the work. I'm responsible for providing it for you, but I'm not responsible for you doing it. So the third I is to influence others. So part of being accountable is that you oftentimes need help, right? We need to be able to influence others to help us get what we need to get done. And they're not invested personally like we are. So what can we do to help influence them, kind of make it their why, and let them know why this is important to you or to them, to help get them wanting to do the job for you and with you. So that's the third I, is to influence others. The fourth I is to intervene when necessary. Okay, so intervening means, all right, things aren't going too good. Maybe I need to stop and do something differently. And that's what I've been doing a lot in my career and life, is that when, you know what, something isn't working and I thought it would, I need to do something differently. So we need to switch. We need to be accountable that the plan that we have doesn't work. In fact, this is a great analogy of planning and the importance of intervening. Okay, so here's our plan, or like, here's our nicely completed plan, and here's where we are, right? And we're going toward this plan, and our initial thought is, there we go. That's what our plan looks like, and that's what we want it to be. But instead, typically what happens, right, is this. Oops, we get some setbacks, detours, and then we get to our plan eventually. But when we continue to initiate action or intervene as we're going along, we will get It's just typically not how we planned it would happen. The last I is indicate results. What is your scorecard for doing that? Okay, so think about our scorecard, and that's where I have the sprint points for you, so that you can just have a great way to keep track of your points as you're going through. Or there's other forms that you can do. You know, this is an example of a forum that I did around accountability, an Archie chart, where you can track things very logically, and hopefully you have different systems and ways that you've been tracking things. This Archie stands for Authority, Responsibility, Consultant, and Form. So here's a tracking form example. But when we've tracked things, we're able to utilize that. So the 3 is key. I want to share the story about Lisa Nichols. And in her book, she talks about this idea of how Harvard has a $30 billion endowment fund that truly generates really an ongoing flow of earnings and dividends that can virtually fund anything. I mean, can you imagine if we each had an endowment fund like that, of what we could do to help others? And so it's this idea about being accountable to something. And what she would do is, she had this dream of wanting to free and have a life. She's a single mother who was on public assistance at one point, and she dreamed of a better life. And so every week that she would work, she would write a check. She'd get out her checkbook, and she would write a check for $110. And she would write for Dream Fund, and she would send it in every week. Soon she got another job, she would get some more money, she would increase it. And she said at the end of 3.5 years later, the bank staff wanted to meet with her because they wanted to find out who was this woman that was so dedicated to her dream fund. And you know what? After 3.5 years, guess what it grew to? $62,000. That's awesome and a lot of money to be able to fund toward future dreams. That's being accountable and tracking and having a system. So your one and done is to get your scorecard. What is your tracking system for now and going forward with your number one goal, the micro level? This is like every inch matters, every degree matters, every little thing that you do matters, and how are you going to track it? Okay, but do it in a way that's going to work for you, that won't be a pain. Like I've tried all these different tracking methods and either they're too detailed or they just don't work. So find something that will work for you. One and done is the micro level. Too good for you is the macro level. Okay, so the big picture, because we cannot forget we're here for such a short time. Our time is precious. What macro level are you being accountable for your dreams? And then the 3 is key is what can you do inspired by Lisa Nichols and her story, because now she has this incredible business that she built up over the years, and she's gone from public assistance to going public with her business. It's time to get accountable, and I know that you will look in the mirror, of course, when things go right, and congratulate yourselves and others, but also when things go wrong, because we know when we take accountability through the 5 I's, that's when we make true progress and we can complete whatever it is we're after. From my heart to yours, be love.